A report into the Manchester Arena attack 4 years ago has concluded that the bomber Salman Abedi should have been identified as a threat. Sir John Saunders, who is leading the public inquiry into the bombing, says there were a number of missed opportunities to prevent or minimise the devastating impact of the atrocity. 22 people were killed and hundreds were injured when Abedi blew himself up in the lobby at the end of an Ariana Grande concert in May in 2017. Our correspondent, Judith Moritz, reports from the inquiry.
Is anybody injured?
Yes, Lord.
Chaos and devastation in the moments after the bomb. The aftermath was horrific, but the details of what happened before the explosion are distressing too. The chairman of the Manchester Arena inquiry didn't hold back today in his criticism of those responsible for keeping concert-goers safe.
I was urged by everybody to avoid looking for scapegoats. I have not looked to blame anyone. But where, having considered the evidence, I considered that individuals have fallen below a proper standard in carrying out their important roles in protecting concertgoers, I have said so.
The families of those who died learned today that there were serious shortcomings, not just by individuals, but the police and private companies responsible for security at the arena.
Today, our heartbreak turns to anger. We entrusted the safety of our loved ones into organisations and agencies who had a duty of care to protect them. This inquiry has rightly found that we were failed on every level.
The bomber, Salman Abedi, hung around the arena and train station next door for 2 hours before his attack. A catalogue of security failures allowed him to slip through the net. He walked into the foyer an hour before the Ariana Grande concert finished, up these stairs to a carefully researched hiding place in a CCTV blind spot. No one from authority challenged him, but a member of the public did and told a teenage steward.
He didn't seem that interested. It was as if he had more important things to deal with. But in no way do I blame him.
I do solemnly...
Today's report says the 19-year-old steward, Mohammed Agha, fobbed Mr. Wilde off and bears personal responsibility for the striking missed opportunity. So too does another teenage steward, Kyle Lawler, who walked away unconcerned after being warned about the bomber. The company which employed them, Shosek, has been heavily criticised. Failings include inadequacies in its training. It says it's learned lessons and is considering today's criticisms. The operator of the arena, SMG, has also been condemned for lapses. Today it said it was truly sorry. Defying orders, there was no British Transport Police officer inside the room when the concert ended. A group of them were standing together at the station next door when the bomb went off. There's said to be no satisfactory explanation for this. 22 people were murdered in the attack, the youngest a child of 8. The report says had more been done, fewer people would have been killed. That's difficult for families like Philip Trons to hear. The 32-year-old from Gateshead was one of those who died.
How does it make you feel about what happened?
Angry.
It's difficult to take it all in.
I'm his mum and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to get justice for him.
Darling, if you can't have a glass of...
Martin Hett is another of those murdered in the bombing. His mum, Figan Murray, has been campaigning for new legislation, nicknamed Martin's Law, to force venue operators to plan and cater for the risk of a terror attack. It was recommended in the report.
The inquiry has supported Martin's Law. What's next?
I'm having talks with people in the government next week to ask exactly that question. But hopefully it'll reinforce to the government that they have to act now. This doesn't just affect people from the arena. There's been attacks all over.
The government says it's carefully considering the report, which will shape its response to calls for the new law, part of an effort to ensure that in future venues put the safety and security of the public first.
Well, the public inquiry has so much ground to cover, to analyse what went wrong here
4 years ago at the arena, that this is the first of 3 reports which will be published. The next volume will look at the way the emergency services responded to the attack that night, and it'll look at how each of the 22 people died and whether any of them could have been saved. And the third report will look at what the security services knew about the bomber and his family, their radicalisation, and whether they could have prevented what happened. For the families and for the survivors, for everyone affected by Manchester Arena, there's still a very long road ahead.
Judith Moritz, thank you.